Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining today's webinar, and very thankful to you for taking out time out of your busy Saturday morning. Before we dive into the webinar, let me briefly introduce what BIGGR is. So BIGGR is a a platform of financial advisors who are all SEBI registered, and they provide unbiased, no sales, conflict-free investment advisory and financial planning solutions. So whenever you have a need for financial planning, you can think about BIGGR, and all our advisors are SEBI registered, so they provide you services as mandated by SEBI guidelines, and they do not provide you any commission-based products. Talking about today's webinar, we have a very good speaker with us, Mr. Krishna Rath, who is a SEBI registered investment advisor and one of the first from the state of Orissa. And also, he is also an MBA from IIM Indore and has almost 8 years of experience in this industry, where he has helped countless individuals and families with their retirement planning and other financial needs. Before I hand it over to Mr. Krishna, let me quickly do a quick poll that will gauge how prepared we are with our retirement planning. So there will be 2 questions. Okay. So the first is, it is coming on your screen. So please vote that have you started saving for retirement or not. I will run this for around 15 seconds and later we'll share the results with you. So yeah, so okay, so last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I see still some people are voting, so I'll just give them additional 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so let me share the results with you. So you can see that the results would be on your screen. So you can see that most of us have started saving for the retirements. So that is a very healthy sign. Okay, now let me add another poll. Okay, so it is asking about how confident do you feel about your current retirement savings plan. So please vote this one as well. So this is also a barometer to check that, okay, you have started planning, but whether that is going in the right direction or not. Okay, so just I'll give you 10 more seconds. Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So let me publish the results, and this should be appearing on your screen as well. So yeah, so as you can see that we all have, most of us have started this retirement savings, but we are not sure in which direction it is going. So for this reason only, we have Mr. Krishna Rath, and he will talk more about these things in this today's webinar. So I hand it over to Mr. Krishna. Krishna, the webinar is yours. Krishna, your voice is not audible, so maybe you may want to unmute yourself.
Okay, so
yes,
now
yes,
am I
yes,
audible?
yes,
Very good. Sorry,
yes, 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 yes.
Okay,
yes.
good. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share my thoughts on retirement savings. I think that poll indeed says a lot, that we all have somewhere we have planned our retirements, but are we really confident if we are going to meet them or not? Yep, that's what we will try to see, and we'll try to solve to some extent over here. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session on a Saturday morning, and thank you very much for your time. I'm going to share my screen and start quick slides, which will help us focus our attention on. So just give me a moment. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for joining the session. So let's come into what is retirement. Retirement is a life event, and with every life event, there is a financial score associated to it, a financial amount associated to it, right? So you are highly likely not going to earn anything, and for the next few years of your life, you will need to depend from some source of income, or maybe a fund that you have invested during your working years, right? And why retirement matters a lot in the next few decades is because one is, we are having a lot of cultural shifts. We are becoming more nuclear families. I know that COVID has taught us about how family bonding matters and how much it really supports families. But now with work from office being pushed, we know that we are all going to become again nuclear families. Unlike in larger developed economies, we do not have a lot of central government support when it comes to the unemployment insurance or retirement savings, which is less in India. And a bigger reason of why retirement is or planning for retirement is very important is our increased life expectancies. So earlier, the life expectancy in India was around 65 to 70, and within just one decade, it is just moving up to the 80s. So once we retire, say, probably at the age of 60 or 70, we have to plan, 60, 50 or 60, we have to plan for the next 20 to 30 years of our life. And when we talk about retirement and the expenses during retirement, there are a few ways, I wouldn't say a variety of ways, or 5 or 6 methods as how you would want to determine the retirement amount. But the way I look at retirement amount and the way that I make everyone understand that how retirement should be planned is that in today's age, in today's world, if you were to look at an elderly couple living in their own house, what is the amount of money that is required for survival? It is approximately 40K. Where does 40K go? It's in your screens. At least 20,000 for food and groceries, 5,000 for house maintenance, about 5K for the fuel expenses, and about 10,000 rupees per month may go out from your pocket, which may not be covered by the medical insurance that if you have, being enrolled into. So a bare minimum of 40,000. And this amount of money, it doesn't take, consider your lifestyle, HNI, UNI, middle income. 40,000 is kind of the bare minimum requirement that you would require to survive in today's world, right? Now, let's look at what this 40,000 will look after a few years. And this is where I think we need to understand that the second poll question, that how confident are you to achieve, right? So why I think we are not confident is because while we understand that retirement is a life stage goal, the financial goal associated with it is not maybe clear, right? So if we look at this number 40,000 as our base, and if you just take this 40,000 and look at it after 30 years, which means from today plus 30 years, you can see in the chart, it's going to become 1.7 L with what? 5% inflation. The assumption is that India's inflation may not be as high as 9, 10, 11% as in the past because we are becoming slightly more developed. I've taken a conservative 5% inflation. With that 5% inflation, today's 40K is going to become 1.7 lakhs in future, right? And just FYI, if you have another 10 years to survive, your 40K today is going to become, say, 65K. Right? So this is the impact of inflation on your money. So 40,000 is going to become 1.7 lakhs a month. That's what you'll require. If you are 30 and you are going to be, after 30 years, this is what you will require, right? Let's just move on to how we want to construct the fund. But I just want to give a quick, quick background on, how inflation impacts. if you've seen the first few minutes of the older movie Dawn, the 1978 movie Dawn, Dawn was to be murdered for 10 lakh rupees. Today, people lose 10 lakh rupees in futures and options and still tweet about it. So that's the amount of, or that's the impact of inflation, if you would just ask me. So 40,000, 1.7. 30 years later, 1.7 is not going to look very big. Now let's understand that, before we go into a solution or before we get into anything else, just understand what we can do and how a retirement fund is typically constructed, right? So when I say retirement fund, it's not just a single product, but where you want to invest your money into. If you assume that during your working years, assume that your age is 30, and with a expected rate of return in your investment funds or your retirement funds is going to give you 10%, right? You keep investing up till the age of 60, and then once you have accumulated a corpus, you put that corpus into something which is safe, something as safe as FD. Don't bother about inflation and all those complications there. Okay, or it could be a savings product or whatever. Assuming a rate of return of 6%, right? That fund is going to, or that money that is accumulated, which is the corpus, is going to fund your 40,000 rupees, which is the current value, for the next 20 to 25 years. So this is how a retirement fund is typically constructed. So you have your accumulation phase, 30 to 60, which is shown where your money is invested, and then your retirement fund funds in your retirement, which is called a distribution phase. Now, it all appears very simple over here. You got 40. We know we need approximately around 1.7 L per month. But then how do you want to construct it? So let's take just an example. I was just thinking of an example, and I've got over here Mr. Raju from 3 Idiots. He was desperately looking for his job, right? So he gets his job. Maybe at 30 years, actually got it during his college time, but I've just put it, here at his age as 30. Assuming 60 years retirement, wants to live till the age of 80, his monthly salary, whatever it is, 80K, 1.2 L, whatever. But his minimum household expense is 40K. And that 40K will be required in the retirement years as well, right? So if that be, we come across to some numbers where we maybe show. As you see that the red chart out there, 30 at the age of 30, right? So what he will require at 60 is 3.76 CR, which will help him get today's 40,000 for the next 20 years. I hope this chart is very clear, right? So if someone were to ask me that I'm 30 years and how do I plan my retirement, I would say that, probably a very thumb rule. Okay, this is not looking at risk profile, not looking at anything else, just survival. You need approximately 3.76 crores when you are 60 years old. And the 17K that you see at the screen, which is circled, is the amount of investment, that is your SIP, monthly investments, that you will have to do at an expected rate of return of 10%. Right? So now looking at these numbers, these numbers are large, big, and as you understand that, let's even go a little further. If you are a little younger, 25 years old, right? There are two numbers that you see. One is your retirement corpus. The other is is your accumulation amount or your investment amount that you do on a monthly basis. So if you're 25 and after 35 years, you need equivalent of 40K, 40,000 per month for the next 20 years. At the age of 60, you will need to have 4.8 CR. And these are all numbers. The assumptions is the assumptions is on the right hand side, that inflation is 5%, post-retirement returns would be approximately 6%, approximate numbers. We can play around with these numbers. You can do a lot of max around it, but the numbers are not going to vary by a lot. It will be 4.5 to 5 CR for the age of 25, around 3.5 to 4 CR for the age of 30. And as you come down, so if I were to ask somebody who is here at the age of 40, right, in the next 20 years, you will require 2.3 CR. And how to achieve it? Probably 30K per month. You have to put in something which is a mix of products, which will give you approximately 10% returns. And similarly, if you are 50 years, you need to have 1.4 CR in the next 10 years just for survival, right? So what I always see is that typically 30 to 35 is a beginning period, or is a period of realization that people start thinking that, am I on the right track, right? And the answer to the right track is all in numbers, right? These are the numbers that you need to have at least as a ballpark number to ensure that you are reaching your target, that you will have a good retirement. Okay. Let's go to the next one as to what products do you want to invest in. So we know the numbers. What would be the product?
Krishna, let me just quickly run a poll here. Okay.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's run a poll over here to find out.
Yes. So, all the attendees, we have floated one poll here. So let us know what products you are invested in for the retirements. Okay. So this also gives you that, okay, what are the options available in the market? What financial products are sold, missold to you? Okay. So I'll again run this poll for 15 seconds, sorry, and then we'll publish the results. Okay. Okay, so I see people are voting here. Okay, so last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. But I see still people are voting. Okay, so I just give some extra seconds. Okay. Okay, so I'll publish the results now. Okay, so the results would be on your screen. Okay, so as you can see that most of are investing in stocks, equity based, so that is good, but actually really good distribution. They are aware that they should actually invest in. Okay, and there's one more poll that I want to run is that how many of you have discussed about your retirement plans with your financial advisor? Okay, so please vote this poll as well. Again, we'll run it for 15 seconds. Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I will publish the results. Yeah, so as you can see that majority there's this big percentage that has not discussed this thing with financial advisor. So maybe Krishna will show you in the further discussion that, okay, how a financial advisor can help you meeting these requirements, okay, the retirement requirements. Okay, over to you, Krishna.
Thank you very much. And actually, thanks for that poll, because the poll gives me a lot of insight that people are investing in mutual funds, and which is good. But we also need to understand that the amount of money that you invest, and I hope that fund is dedicated and understood as a retirement investment, because in many cases, what happens, and most of my time is spent on that, which is not bad, but people invest in mutual funds without tagging the funds to a particular goal, right? So if you're investing something, please do remember that that an investment has to be tagged to a goal, and the number also should have a rationale. It should not be that, a random 5,000 or a 10,000. Most of the time 5,000, 10,000 typically works or has worked in the past when India growth story was extraordinary, but it may not so happen in the future. And that's why you see over here that I'm giving a very conservative return of 10%. Mix of products. Why a mix of product? Is because you need some sort of security and some sort of discipline, which comes from your typical EPF and the PPFs and all that. NPS is a very good product. And I'll come to one small example once I just finish the rest of the products. Equity definitely should be there in retirement, whether it is 10 years or 15 years. Equity is definitely a must, and well diversified equities. We have your index, your Nifty 50 and your Sensex, typically replacing your blue chips funds now. But there is a lot of some sort of opportunities if you want to go into the diversified mid-cap space. And then global funds also should not be ignored. So invest in the US, Europe, India market, well-diversified markets, but also never forget about your provident funds, your PPFs, and sometimes debt funds. Now, NPS, I put a star mark over there. If you are a government employee over here who is attending this call, if you have NPS, and that NPS would probably solve most of your retirement worries, because typically government employees are there to stay for 60 years. Private employees, sometimes what happens is that at the age of 50 or 55, they may retire. But government employees, assuming that they want to stay in the government sector for that much time, 60 years is a very good time for NPS to meet your retirement goals. I have recently in the past, with all the chaos in NPS, I have made retirement plans solely based on NPS. And just to give a mental satisfaction, I had to give a Nifty 50 fund because the person wanted to have a mutual fund in his folio, but otherwise NPS itself is well diversified. All right. And what I want to say is that your retirement fund should not be a single product. It should be a mix of product, right? And in addition to a mix of product, it is very important to understand that there is no one size fit for all solution. There is nothing like a single solution, a single brochure that's going to solve all your retirement problems. You have to have a good mix of products, and a lot depends on your risk profile, your needs, your financial status as your age, dependent parents, working spouse, children, your whether you're married, not married, your income expenses, and also personal ambitions, like you want to get into entrepreneurship, you want to start business, right? All those things will impact the amount of retirement corpus that you need to have, and also the way that you want to create your retirement corpus. For example, if you want to do retirement early, or you want to do entrepreneurship at some point in time, you will need to have a lot of front loading. That is, your investments have to be heavy in the beginning of your career, right? And typically what I do is that my recommended strategies are very simple. As I mentioned it again, and I'm stressing on it, that have fixed and variable options. Fixed as in some products like EPF and PPF. Please keep investing in these products. Never use these products as done in the past to take loans from this. All right, just keep investing in these products. These are long-term products. Let them serve the purpose of being safe havens for your long-term products. Equity, yes, will be volatile, should be considered for long-term. Both are long-term. Okay, it's not that PPF at the age of 55 you can start a PPF. It doesn't make sense. In fact, if you are younger, you start a PPF, invest in EPF. Once you make something like a 40-50 lakhs, just imagine if a PPS is giving you 7% returns, you are getting 3.5 or 4 lakh rupees tax free, right? So and the next step is very simple: diversification, multiple products, and do not get emotionally attached to some product and take as one product as a solution for your retirement, or for that matter any lifestyle or any life goals, financial planning. The other thing is that we need to understand is, if you're having planning for retirement, never miss out on children higher education and parental old age. Because if you are, say, 35 and you're having a kid now, so highly likely at the time of retirement, at the time of 25, your child may be going in for higher education, right? So 50s to 60s is is a time period where you will have a lot more expenses on children's education, parental old age. And that is where a lot of people, if you're not planned early on your retirement, you will not be able to save money for your retirement. As simple as that. So start early, because retirement, children education, parental old age, these three financial goals are realities of life, and retirement is a big reality of life. That's all I have to present. So it is very simple. Just to conclude, understand that there is a lot of amount of money required for this particular life stage, which is called retirement. The number is staggering, is pretty high. Cost of delay is going to be very high. And do remember that just mere planning for retirement or mere planning for children's higher education is not going to work out, because typically you'll have to take care of the goals. There will be conflicting interests, and you will have to take a decision of ensuring that you give priorities to certain goals. And with that, I would like to get into the question and answer round. So can we go to the Q&A session?
Yes. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you very much for this insights on retirement planning and the funds that we need. So, and all the attendees, we really apologize, but it may go for 5 minutes, because we will be taking some questions. Okay. So, Krishna, I will be I'll be speaking the questions, and you try to answer those. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So, one of the question is that what about house rent? If someone don't have own house, so if that thing is coming into the picture of personal savings, then how somebody should plan
Correct.
for retirement?
Correct. So when we talk about retirement, right? Typically, what happens, and as a financial planner, I understand most clients have a confusion as what should be retirement. Like I mentioned, retirement is retirement expenses. The bare minimum expenses to live your life. House rent is going to be a different goal altogether, right? So at the time of retirement, if you are um, if you're thinking that you cannot create a house by that time and you need to pay for rent, then you need to add that amount of money also. But uh, it's going to be very difficult to predict what would be the rent, because it would depend on variable factors like the place you want to stay post retirement, um, and where you want and the place where you want to stay. And depending on the place where you want to stay, even within, say, a metro, there could be low housing schemes, high housing schemes, and all that. And please remember that if you're planning to live on rented when you are retired, it might be a little challenging, because what if the homeowner asks you to vacate? Then at that age, it's very difficult. So please to understand that yes, if you want to stay rental, that amount is extra. That amount is not included in this retirement planning.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Krishna. Another question that we have is that if I haven't started planning yet for retirement and I am 40, what options do I have?
Okay. Good question. I do know. So if you're 40 and if you've started working from, say, what age? Maybe 25, 28. I'm sure that there will be something in in your EPF, right? So it's not that people who have not planned do not have anything in their retirement kitty. Probably by the stroke of luck, they would have something in an EPF account, somewhere, some mutual funds invested. What you have to do is, if you're already 40, you have to sit and plan things out, because there are, like I mentioned, other constraints: children's higher education, parental old age, your own old age, right? So all these things have to be planned out and charted out, so that where which goal is going to come in, where which goal is going to be active, where it is going to end, how much amount you require for that, and then accordingly plan. So planning, definitely you can plan. If you're 40, you're not late. You still have 20 years, and the India growth story is definitely there for the next few decades. and investing in diversified equity funds will definitely help you reach your goal. But yes, the amount of money that you might have to allocate for your retirement fund may be a little higher. Yep, that's it.
Yes, Krishna. The next question that we have is from Mr. Ashish Ranjan. He's asking that I started investing in NPS at the age of 23 and planning to invest it till age of 60. Will it serve my retirement goals?
Yeah, okay. So without knowing how much amount is going into the NPS, I will not be able to answer that question very accurately. But given that I've been working with a lot of government employees and they are very dedicatedly putting my amount into NPS, so I'm not sure if he's private and he is, um, and the amount is 12% or not. But typically the 10-12% of amount of money into NPS will more or less meet this 40 to 50K per month expense that you will require in retirement. If you add a fund on top of it, say a 5K or a 10K well diversified equity mutual fund, then you are definitely meeting your goal.
Okay, we will take two more questions. So one question is from Mr. Siddharth Jain. He is saying, is there any thumb rule of debt versus equity as per age?
Yep, there is a thumb rule, and that thumb rule is automatically taken care if you get into the NPS part. And the government, SEBI, also mandates that as per age, you are not supposed to give a lot of exposure to equity to somebody who is at an elderly age. However, when we do financial planning, based on somebody's financial profile, we might even be more aggressive for equity, okay, even if the individual is a little elderly person. But thumb rule, as a thumb rule, typically everybody does a 70-30 or a 60-40. This is just a thumb rule, but again, please don't take thumb rules as a rule to be applied on you, because life is not the law of averages. Okay, everyone is different. Everybody has their own risk profile. There are individuals even at much younger age where I have recommended 80% debt, 20% equity because of various factors, right? So it depends, but yeah, 60-40 is a good split.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Krishna. Another question we have is from Mr. Sumit Krishnapuria. He's saying that any input on historical difference between inflation and average return for balanced portfolio, how conservative or realistic 2% different is?
I'm sorry, can you please again repeat that question? I'm just
Yeah, so he's asking about input on historical difference between inflation and average return for balanced portfolio. So difference between inflation and average return for balanced portfolio. Is
okay.
2% really conservative? That's how he's
Yeah,
asking.
see, right. So 2% is conservative, and at 2%, 3% amount, that difference of that amount itself is enough to create a good corpus if you're looking at a 20 or 25-year time frame. So and when we talk about conservative funds and combination, again, let me repeat that this example that I showed was again a simple example, but for every individual we'll have to plan things differently, which means that um, uh, sometimes while the individual may ask for conservative or the risk profile may be conservative, during specific periods of time you may want to become a little bit more aggressive on the equities, especially on recession time. And if the individual's job is pretty safe, I would rather recommend going a little bit more aggressive on the equities, right? I hope you got it, right? So it's never like a kind of a single kind of a folio. You have to be little active on the folio. But to answer a question simply, yes, 2, 3, 4% will definitely come if you take a historical average, if you do whatever research. from the inflation to a conservative hybrid fund.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll take two more questions only, okay? Because we are already running late. Okay. Apologies to everyone who is on the call. So another question is from Mr. Ravi Sharma. He's asking that is mutual fund a better option than debt at the age of 36 for planning retirement?
I would say 36 is you're still young, and if you're looking at the next 20 years, definitely yes. Equity mutual funds, well diversified equity funds, are is definitely a solution. Yes, it is
Okay.
a solution.
Okay. Okay. So now is the last questions, and this question is from Mr. Anshaj Goel. So he has given his numbers. So his age is 23 and having a salary around 75,000 per month. Suppose my investments include 10% of my salary in RD, 30% in insurance and SIP. House EMI of 20K per month as well. I think this one is very holistic picture, and this would require a lot of detail because numbers are here. So is it somehow which is structured correctly? I think I can answer that. So answer, this is a very like a very personalized question that you're asking. So all the advisors, whoever you consult, they will actually have to look into the specific numbers and then provide you the feedback that whether it is appropriate for you or not. Okay. So I think it would be very difficult to answer to this number in this call. Okay. Maybe yeah.
And please remember, sorry to just jump in.
Yes, yes,
Please
yes.
do remember that, see, it is age, it is your salary, and it is your risk profile. When I say risk profile, I had showed one slide. Your parents, your
Yes.
your dependency, that is very, very important. Please do not ignore that. It's only after that, and the answers will change completely post your risk profiling.
Okay, so another question that is coming from Mr. Abhishek. I'm sorry, but these questions are very interesting. So I'm thinking of, just for the benefit of everyone, I'm just thinking of taking them. So another question is that, okay, I'm invested in some companies, mutual fund, debt funds, but the returns are very poor. Okay, so the funds are debt funds, but the returns are very poor. How do I go about investing in debt market?
A good question, actually. That would be another session that I would love to take for BIGGR Financial,
Okay.
because debt fund investment is not debt mutual fund investment is not guaranteed. Please understand that their debt fund returns, um, especially when it comes to the mutual fund debt fund returns, are a function of your interest rate regime. All right. So there are some calculations which go on. It is not a guaranteed upslope always. There can be downs, and perhaps it can even go down also. Although equity during that time may rise for some, whatever reason, there can be reduction in your debt fund mutual folio. So how to invest in debt funds, which debt funds to invest, is actually a little larger topic.
Okay. Okay, so one last question. Okay, so that is, what if I am investing in NPS regularly? Since last 3 years, I am now 38. NPS investment is around 14,000 per month, along with SIP investments 20,000 per month. I think this
Wow.
looks a bit yeah. Okay.
Yep, good. So see, again, like I mentioned, right, 14,000. If you're looking at, say, meeting the 40,000 target, your 14,000, if you put it into kind of a very aggressive routine in the aggressive mode in the NPS, if you have selected that, it's going to help you probably meet much of your retirement corpus. The 20,000, if you have truly allocated only for your retirement, I think that's going to meet all your targets if you are 38, based on the assumptions that India is expected to grow, and the mutual funds that you have invested are diversified ones and not very sector specific. So yes, you are well covered. But once again, that 20,000 you're putting in mutual funds, is it only retirement, or is it just you have just put for all your goals? I'm not sure. So, but if it is 20,000 for retirement, you're going to meet your goals.
Okay, so so that was the last question, and thank you, Krishna, for this wonderful session and your insights in taking these questions. We ran a little bit late, but I apologize to you and all the attendees, and thank you all the attendees for joining this session. It was really great to see you all here, taking out time out of your busy Saturday morning. Okay, so thank you. And
Thank you very much.
if you, yeah, and if you, or to all the attendees, if you have any queries related to any investment advisory or financial planning, you can submit your query on our website, www.biggerfin.com. And we look forward to you in the next financial planning and investment advisory seminar, okay, via Bigger FinSights. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.